This is Kanji in Danzanryu Jiu-Jitsu. I'm your host, Professor George Arrington. In part 3 of Shime Te, we're going to look at techniques 11 through 15, although techniques 11, 12, and 13 basically have the same name. Let's take a look. First off, all of the kanji we're going to be talking with come from this scroll, the Mokuroku of Professor Okazaki. This is the scroll that he gave to his students when they reached the rank of second-degree black belt. And now a scroll is not called a Mokuroku. The word for scroll is makimono, and those are the characters that you see there. The Shime portion of the scroll is shown here. And in this video, we're going to be looking at these 5 techniques. So techniques 11, 12, and 13 are all called Hadaka-jime. So we have Hadaka-jime 1, 2, and 3. So we'll look at all 3 of them here. So here's the picture from the scroll. The print characters would look like this. So this first character, Hadaka, is a word which means to be naked or uncovered. And always when we teach this to the kids, they get a big kick out of it and start to laugh and make jokes. But what this means is that the chokes are done without use of the clothing. And so that's why they call it naked. And again, we see the term constriction here, shime or jime. And then in the scroll, it has listed here the 3 numbers: 1, ichi, ni for 2, and san for 3. Now this character Hadaka is kind of interesting, and we want to take a look at a couple of the pieces of it. First off, we have this radical, which is the radical for clothing. And what it looks like, this is a compressed version of this character, which means clothing. And it can be in that form read as I or E, or if you want to use the more Japanese version of that, it's koromo. So this is the clothing radical. On the other side is a character which can mean most popularly the term for fruit, but it also can mean finished or succeeded. So when we put these 2 together, we get naked or uncovered. Now, for those of you who do Danzanryu, you might recognize this series of characters where you have koromo and then the character mon, which means an emblem. So the clothing emblem or the family crest that you might see on a kimono is imon or emon, and in our Yawara board we have a technique called imontori or emontori. So the next technique is called Dakikubi Shime, and here is the picture from the scroll. The printed characters look like this. The first character is daki, which means to encircle. It can also mean to hug. This kubi means the neck. And again, we have shime or jime is constriction. Now let's look at daki for a moment here and take a look and see some things about it. The left side of this character is the radical for hand. And what I see in this character is the hand going around in a circle, reaching around an object or a person. So sometimes they use this daki to mean to give somebody a hug, but in this case it's an encircling of the neck. and we call this our headlock throw and hold down. And the word for neck, kubi, there, it always reminds me of the actual vertebra of the neck. So that's how when I look at this, I say, oh, okay, this is encircling the neck, or daki kubi. And then the final technique in this video, osai game shime. This one has some interesting pieces to it. First off, here's the picture. Here we have the printed version of those kanji, and then the hiragana osae. Now, when you say this, it sounds like osai, but really it's osae, osae. So when you say it quickly, it's osai. And this means to pin something down, to pin, to secure something down, to pin it down. And so oftentimes in judo matches, when somebody gets into a hold down, they say osai or osai komion, and that means that the pin has been secured. Now this next character is gami in the way it's pronounced in this technique. If you try to look that up in a dictionary, however, you won't find gami. You'll have to look for kami, and this means the hair, as in the hair on the head. And we're going to take a look at that here in a moment. And again, we have the word constriction. Now let's look at this kami or gami character, and it has some interesting pieces to it. And this one reminds me of what the technique actually means. First off, this portion is naga or nagai, which means long. Something is long, a long piece of rope. This part here is the radical for hair. So when I see this, I see long hair, and that's what reminds me whenever I see this character, that this means long hair. And then this one is the same character that's used in tomodachi, or friend. So when I see this, it's a friend of mine has long hair. It's a way to remember this kanji. Much of the information about the kanji and Danzanryu Jiu-Jitsu that you've been watching in these videos comes from my book Mokuroku and Kaiden Sho. This 152-page book contains translations of a couple of the scrolls that Professor Okazaki gave to his students, as well as a significant Kaiden Sho, which was a diploma that Professor Okazaki gave to a group of advanced black belts in 1948. I've included here a section from the book. It just so happens that this is the Shime Te portion of the Bizek, the Stephen Bizek scroll. And on the left part, it shows the actual picture from the scroll. And on the right side, there are three boxes. One is the printed version of the kanji. Underneath that is what's called romaji, which is the way that you would actually pronounce those kanji. And then at the bottom, it has the actual English translation. So this book is valuable to not only Danzanryu students, but also anyone who's studying martial arts, or Japanese for that matter. And so I hope you'll pick up a copy of it. It's available on Amazon, and just look up Mokuroku and Kaiden Sho. Well, I certainly thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you got something out of it. There will be upcoming episodes in this series, and I hope you'll stay tuned for those. Thanks again.